when I sit here in the mornings, do my morning routine, I always watch the squirrels run along the fence. It's really nice. When I'm ready, I always try and catch a little video of them on my phone, because sometimes they'll come right here, and if I put bird food out, they'll come and get it, and start eating taking all the bird food. I've got fruit trees here, and I'll just start nicking fruit at the appropriate time. Anyway, I'm going way off topic. Let's get on to the topic. Talk about visualization and which is better. Which do you think's better? Visualization or taking action? Which do you think's better? Well, let's be blunt, right? Nothing gets done without action. Nothing gets done without action. But taking action without a clear view of what you're aiming at. When I say clear view, you need a view, a vision of what you're aiming at. Taking action without a direction will you just end up somewhere random. So we always have, even if we're not fully visualizing, even if we're not consciously, we don't think we're visualizing, like properly manifesting or any of this kind of woo-woo stuff, we've still got a visual. We're taking action towards a target. When you go and train in the gym, you have a visual of what you want to achieve, even if it's quite basic, like I just want to lose some weight, something like that. That is visualization. So no action can be taken without a form of visualization. Even if you think it's bollocks and you're not doing it, you are doing it. Because you always take action towards a goal, right? So when we ask the question, which is better, visualization or taking action, then it's a bit of a funny one, because nothing gets done without action. But equally, every action to be effective is always directed towards a form of visualization, a vision. So they go hand in hand. Success is having a visualization and then taking action towards that goal. Just like I say on my videos and also in the journal, 3 parts to it. Your identity, who you see yourself to be, and this might be your new identity, who you want to be. That's your visualization. That's what you're aiming at, your highest level goal. And then in the middle somewhere, you'll create a little plan, like a little list of things, and create these goals. And you might use something like objectives, key results. That's what's in the journal. It's something similar, using a results-based approach. You've got some key results to meet that objective. And all those objectives feed into your identity, which is your visualization. And then, to make it work, we take action every day in our daily rituals, routines and habits. So, which is more powerful, visualization or taking action? Well, they both happen. And one can't happen without the other. You can't sit there visualizing a new future and do fuck all, just sit on your ass all day, right? And equally, you can't take action that isn't in the direction of a visualization. Every action is in the direction of a goal. It is, even if you think you're not doing it. Like I said with the example in the gym, even if you go to the gym and your example might be, I just want to lose some weight. Well, that's your visualization. Or, you might want to, one guy who he cuts my hair, he's barbers, he goes to the same gym, and he started in there, and his goal is squat 100 kilos. That's his visualization. I want to get to 100 kilos back squat. Right, that's your visualization. So, which is better for results? It's a bit of a funny one because you need them both. Now, there's a difference in how you visualize, because I believe you should visualize consciously, and visualizing consciously is transformational to get results. So what does visualizing consciously look like? Well, this is where rather than just having a vague goal, and it might be a defined goal when you go in the gym, you might be tracking the macros and everything and what you want to do. Visualizing consciously is a bit more than that. It's like, what athletes do. Professional athletes do this before they compete or before the game or whatever, right? They'll visualize success. So like a winning team, a sports team, will visualize success ahead of the game. A winning boxer will visualize success ahead of the fight. Do you know what I mean? They'll visualize that success. And you can kind of do this yourself. And you can do this yourself, but like I said, visualizing in almost like what's the word? A non-committal way. So visualizing without that taking action, just sort of sitting there and going, it's like manifestation, manifesting wealth, lots of money, but then not taking action in terms of your career or not being prepared to, because a big part of this is some people visualize and expect results. There's a lot of stuff on the internet about visualizing love. Just sat there and just manifest a text off a specific person. Have you seen that stuff? When I've researched visualization, there's a lot of stuff like that. And that stuff can be so easily misunderstood, to think that you can just sit there and go, I want a text, and then it just arrive, right? That is a little bit on the fringes of whether it works or not, because getting into spirituality, I do believe that there is a kind of energy out there, right, where it's like karma, right? It's like what you put out, you get back. So karma is a good explanation of manifestation. Could you just manifest a text message off someone? Yeah, I think you can, but maybe not in the way that you think you are. If you're the sort of person just sit there and do fuck all, then I don't think it's likely. But if you're really serious and intentful about living a good life and being that person that, the person that you want the text off would be attracted to, then yeah, I think you can get results that way. It's like the athlete or the boxer before the competition. They've put in the work, haven't they? Ahead of time. So the key here is what a lot of people get wrong with it. They want instant results, right? And visualization is a little bit like a placebo effect. I think the idea is the placebo effect is worth about 40%. And there's a lot of stuff in terms of how your mind can shape your reality. This is like getting into epigenetics, which I think is true. So you can literally shape your reality. We have this thing called our reticular activation system, which is RAS, you might have seen it. It's our selective focus. So what we really focus on, we see more of that. We get more of that. We almost like choose our own reality. And the placebo effect is worth it alone. So even if, right, this is bollocks, I don't believe it is, because I do believe focus combined with action is the best way forward, right? 100%. Aligned action. So this is why, you know, in the journal I have create an identity, then you set some goals, and what you're doing, your habits, your daily habit, the things that you do daily are in alignment with that identity, right? And I've put this quote out before, I think it's FM Alexander, really good quote. People don't decide the futures, they decide the habits, and the habits decide the futures. That's because we are the sum of our daily habits. You know, lots of examples. If you want to do well in your career, you have to work towards that career. So if you do that daily, in small bits, continuously, small steps every day, you're likely to get results because you're feeding good karma there. You're in alignment with the visualization that you want. So, I've brought a good passage down here now. Once you decide to have a good life, the universe will start moving things for you to have the things that you want. This could be, you know, specific material things, the people that you want, the experiences that you want, the career that you want. But it's only when you truly decide that you want that. When you truly decide, this is when you've got that identity or that visualization of the future, right? And you've truly decided on it. So it's now part of your reticular activation system. This is in your selective focus. Once you fixate on that, right, and you create that identity for yourself, and you live in alignment with it every day through the small things that you do, the little habits, little actions, the you know, the daily routines. This is why I always promote working on 3 small things a day towards your goals. What the journal's about. You write down, you know, you do the gratitude, you write down the 3 things that you're going to work on today. And they only have to be small. And then you write an affirmation which affirms your identity, very important every day. It's like state preparation. And then you work towards it. And that is it. That is how results are born. Not instantly, months, years, but slowly you're working towards your primary identity, and that's how it works. So yeah, visualization in a nutshell. Yes, you need it to absolutely strengthen it. So just to recap, if you're working towards something, action is how things get done. Every action is taken in a direction. The difference is whether you make that a conscious goal or not. That's where visualization comes in. Make the direction conscious, right? And then once you put that direction, your goal, make it conscious, your visualization, you double down by aligning your actions, because that will be in, like I say, in your selective focus, your reticular activation system, and you double down in your habits. You start living accordance to it, and you clean things up. It's really simple. Like I always give a fitness example because it's easy. A lot of people go to the gym, spend a lot of time in the gym, don't really get the results. And do you know why? They might have a goal to lose weight, but are their daily rituals, routines in alignment with that goal? You know, if you go and work your bollocks off in the gym and then go and have a McDonald's or a pizza and smash 10 pints, no. So like I say, using visualization helps you to really, really have a selective focus on that goal. It increases your selective focus. It aligns your reticular activation system. And that is very powerful, because then everything that you do will be more in alignment with it. That's how it's done. And then all you have to do is tighten up your habits, right? and smash it. And that's why, you know, doing like writing them down in a journal or something like this every day and ticking them off, and really, you know, you don't have to be militant about it, because these, when I say I do 3 things a day, you know, you're not working your bollocks off. You might only put 20 minutes into each one. You know, most days I only put about 2 or 3 hours of actual work into my day. But because they're all with intent, they're all, those 3 things are absolutely focused on my goals and they're done daily, I get more results because there's real focus and I've got a clear visualization, which is the goal that I want. That's it. You actually work, it's easier. You don't have to work as hard because everything that you do is efficient, working towards your visualization. You're not doing things like the fitness example. You're not doing things like eating fucking pizzas and McDonald's and all these things. You're just making it harder. When you go in the gym, you have to work even harder. You eat that shit, you can't out-train a poor diet. So yeah, aligning your visualization with the things that you do daily is so powerful, and it isn't that hard. And once you get this right, you align them, you don't even have to work that hard because everything's aligned. It's a breeze. Let's have a couple of comments. Hello, newbie here. Where are you from? Well, welcome, newbie. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. Go and watch my other videos. I've got a few like this. I've got one more thing I want to, bit off topic. I might have read this before. I always stick this thing. I don't know if you can see that. Is that in the screen? You'll have to mirror it because it's on a live. You know, on the live, it's like a front screen's mirrored on my phone. But it says the real luxuries in life are time, health, a quiet mind, slow mornings. I love that. That's what I'm having today. Ability to travel, rest without guilt, a good night's sleep, yes. Calm and boring days, good one. Meaningful conversations, home cooked meals, people you love, people who love you back. You can choose all those things, you know? And they are solid habits to choose. I've done a lot of videos on, I think I did one on recently, on I think it was the 8 habits that'll cure 95% of your problems. I can't remember them off heart, but it included a lot of different things like, you know, setting boundaries, eating well, training, waking up early, reading, you know, educating yourself, things like this. All them things that can be aligned to your visualization. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any questions about your goals, visualization, hit me up. My email's down below. Also, go and get yourself a copy of the Journal for Goal Achievement, because you'd be really helping me by spending, it's available on Amazon, or go to the website, links down below. You'd be really helping me by committing a small amount of money, but for you, that practice, transformational, it's what I've been doing for years now. And I think that for me personally, visualizing is great, I do that, but writing it down, there's nothing like, for me, that's why I do this every day, pen to paper, setting my day with intent. What are the top 3 things that I need to do today? And writing that affirmation and that gratitude, and then accounting for it and ticking it off. There's nothing like writing it down every day that really makes it commit to memory. So every day before you start work, just write it down. And then you tick it off, and you can measure backwards. You can read it 6 months and go, oh, I did that. And you start seeing everything getting ticked off. It's fucking satisfying. Tick, 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 knowing. And you've got actual documented evidence. It's really satisfying. There's nothing like it. Yeah. All right. I'm going to be working on some new things in the future. New products to help people achieve their goals. I've got an accompanying notebook that I'm going to do, because I use a notebook just to write down things like meetings, and it's all date stamped, and I tie it back to the goals in the journal, but I'm going to do something a bit more fancy and structured, and then yeah, some other products as well, including this one that I keep talking about, the pocket citrine, piece of citrine crystal. This is a placebo. Placebo's worth 40%. Look at that. What's citrine for? Just been reading about it in this book. Citrine. Hang on. The best crystals for manifestation, right? Visualization. First one. There you go. Citrine. And it's for enhancing career, creativity and communication and manifesting abundance. That sounds great, doesn't it? So I'm going to get a load of these, because I picked this up in Zakopane, which is in the Tatry Mountains. It was just in a little shop, crystal shop, for like hardly anything, you know, small piece. I got a big block of it in the house, because you know, and I just carry this. It costs nothing, weighs nothing, and just the placebo effect alone of just having that in my pocket, I'm sure it's doing a job, right? And the placebo effect is part of selective focus again. It's part of visualization. So it helps me. When I feel it there, I just feel better. It's like state management, you know. I feel like it's working. And that's the power of the mind, even just getting yourself in the right mindset. So I think just carrying this alone is worth it. So I'm going to get a load of these, and everyone, when they buy a journal, I'm going to throw one in, you know, just a pocket citrine, chuck in your pocket. I'm going to do a bit more research actually, but yeah, nice little strange one there that I think, you know, for the cost of it, look at that. And what you do with these as well, I've got obviously big crystals, but what you do with a crystal is you clean them and prepare them and charge them, and then you ask your crystal what you want. You give it a task, almost like you ask it for help, right? And then when you're done, you thank it. You say, you know, thank you for helping me. And then you say, and please continue to help me on my behalf. You know, like when you're gone, if you're going to put it down, please continue to work on my behalf. And that's how it works, right? So the power of the mind. Right, I've got to go. The door's going. All right. See you all next time.